Okay, so let's talk about this TDXSP2. Today we're going to be, I'm going to show you guys how to change out the gas spring on this thing. So gas spring is going to be the spring that sits behind this drive tire, the motor, and then you have to take off these covers right up here. So if you notice, if I bring this whole suspension down, what it does, it goes up, but it doesn't go up rapidly, especially when you're driving. That's what the gas spring does. It's doing its job, okay? And then of course you do have your spring. So let's get to it. So to get to the gas spring, you have to take your front cover off, a little flathead just like that. Make sure you don't scratch it. Once you take that off, then the outer cover is gonna come off, which is gonna be this part right here. So let's put this aside. We're not gonna use that for right now. Now we're gonna take this one off. And I believe this is gonna be a 19 or, yeah, 19, we'll just say 19. So let's take that off. Boom. That comes off. Let me bring all this stuff over here. That way we can put the tire over there. So we're gonna set the tire right up here. Make sure we don't scratch it up. So I'm gonna put it back on its rim. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna remove these 4 bolts that hold the motor. And that's gonna be a 1/2 inch. So let's get our 1/2. Let's go ahead and remove those. There's 1. There's 2, 3. It's not gonna fall because you do have that bracket that holds it in place. But just be careful with it. I'm not gonna take the motor off because we don't have to. I am gonna set it right up here, and it does have plenty of slack to where it's not gonna stretch out, just like that. Now, you do have to take these flares off, okay? Now with this one, I'm gonna use this little Ryobi electric, I guess, tool. It has enough power to where you're not gonna damage anything. I love this thing. And we're using, what is this size? I believe it's a 5/16. Okay, so you do not have to remove them completely. These right here, you just have to loosen them up. So let's go ahead and do that. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So we're gonna remove that. And then we're also gonna remove this flare right here. Underneath here, you're gonna see a white little tab right there. You're gonna remove that, okay? Pretty simple. When you guys put it back on, it does go the flat part facing up, not this way, because if you do it this way, it's gonna move around. So I'm gonna put it back on this little stem so we know it's there. Okay, so from here, we're gonna have to remove this bracket right here, okay? Because that's your gas spring right here. So you have to remove this bracket, and we're gonna use the same tool, and I believe that's gonna be a 532 or 5/32, this right here. And we're just gonna remove it by, you have 2 Allen bolts right here. There's 1. I'm gonna set that right there. And then the other one is gonna be right in here. So I'm gonna go through this transit hook, loosen that up, make sure it doesn't fall. Perfect, we got the second one. Awesome, we're gonna put this one right here again. And now we're gonna remove this other bolt, this little hex bolt right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. So let's remove that. Once we remove that, you're gonna see that this bracket's gonna come off. Okay, so we got the bracket's off. Set that right there. I'm gonna leave that right there. Okay, so this right here is the gas spring, okay? You have a nut right back here that you will have to remove in order to replace, and this just slides forward. Now, in order to get to, okay, so we'll remove these 2 right here, and it's gonna be the same 19. Let's take, no, that's a 1/2. Let's get the 19. Sorry guys, I'm trying to make it quick so it's not a long, boring video. We'll remove that. So if that doesn't, okay, that won't work, that's fine. But if it gets stuck in there, hold that, and it pops out just like that. It wasn't supposed to do that, but it did. So I'll pick those up here in a minute. They're just right here. So we're gonna remove this little spacer bracket. Okay, so from here, if you notice, this right here is gonna be a 7/16. Now, the 7/16 has, if you twist, it's just gonna spin. So there's an Allen bolt back there in the back. Now on the SP one, I'm not sure how that works, but on the SP2, you have to remove the battery cover. So that's all we're gonna do. We're just gonna remove the cover. Take these little knobs off. I'm gonna set this right up here. I don't want that to get scratched up. We'll put the knobs right here. Now again, you'll have to use a 5/32, right? I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but I'm gonna try to move it. So right in here, there's a hole right there, and that is where that bolt is at, that hex bolt, that you have to hold in order to remove this right here. So let's go ahead and locate that bad boy. There it is. Now you're gonna get your 7/16, and we're gonna remove that. Okay, let's pop it in. There we go, it's out. Perfect. Just like that, okay? So we're gonna put this right here. Perfect. So now it's out. If you see, I could press that in. Now, in order to remove this whole mechanism, this whole front end, the easiest way for me is to bring it up. And now it is kind of tough. Bring it up. Now, if this gas spring is completely shot, you're not gonna have that issue because it's gonna be a lot easier. Now, whenever you install the new one, you are gonna have that issue. But anyway, so you bring that up, and then you just kind of wiggle, and it slides out. Just like that. Now, it is in an angle, which is okay. Nothing's gonna happen, but if you notice, this just pops out right there. So, it just pops out. So you don't even have to remove that nut. I said you did, but this is just the stopper that holds that gas spring going in and out. So once you take that off, this is all out, just like that. And now you get to your gas spring right there. Now remember, that's that hex bolt that I was telling you guys about. This one right here. Okay, so you just have to remove that hex bolt and everything comes out. And that's it, you put the new gas spring. Now I'm gonna show you guys, because this one does have pressure. So it is gonna go slanted a little bit, which is fine. Once you pop it in here, you're gonna line up just like that. Bring it in a little bit slanted. It's not gonna damage the gas spring, okay? Once you pop that in, you're gonna grab this other end, and then you could push on it a little bit or bring it back. You don't have to do much. And if it's hard for you guys to kind of push in on it, just like that, remove this, bring it in slanted like I showed you guys. Bring that one in first, and then bring this other one in. And once they're in, you can push back a little bit and then kind of just slide it in and make sure that that gas spring doesn't come out. There we go. So there, you see how that's in right there? And now you can just kind of wiggle a little bit, go up, and it should just slide in there. Just like that. If you have to use a mallet, that's totally fine. Bring it up. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Bring it up and just kind of hit it a little bit. And then it's gonna slide in there. And you just wiggle. You do have this little spacer in here too that you have to make sure if it pops out to bring it back in. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. You could even get your, let me grab that nut. just dropping everything. So we just brought that spacer back in there, okay? All right, cool. So that's how you change it out. Don't forget to put everything back on the way it should go. This little, I guess it's like a little spacer, I guess, I'm assuming. This goes back in here. If for some reason, you see how it's lined up and it doesn't want to go, through, you just have to kind of bring this up and bring it back out a little bit. Right there, and then it'll go back in the way it should. And you could even put those bolts if you like, but typically you shouldn't have to do that. Everything's gonna slide back in. So let's go ahead and put the spacer, and then we'll put the nuts on there. So there's that. Let's grab the other one. Don't forget the nut up here. So we're just gonna push that back in through there. Let's grab. And I'm sure you guys will find